Hey, we are live, Lynn. Look, they're here. Hey, everybody. Chef Eric Eisenbud, the Grateful Chef, back again in the Grateful Chef kitchen on another great Wednesday night with another great episode of Cooking in the Grateful Chef kitchen with me, Chef Eric Eisenbud. Hope you guys all had a great week like we did, and I hope you are intrigued by this week's episode. You know what we're making tonight? We're making butter. Woohoo! So, but not just any butter, it's a compound butter. Compound butter is anytime you mix other things into the butter. You can make one with herbs, you can make it with herbs de Provence, you can make it with garlic. I've made it with the tamale from lobsters. I have a tamale lobster butter. I have, it's endless. Many combinations. You can make a habanero butter. I mean, whatever it is, whenever you add something, it becomes compound butter. Because it is made up of several compounds, including butter. Beautiful, glorious, lovely butter. So today, au beurre d'escargot. So you'll see recipes out there that say shrimp au beurre d'escargot or fish au beurre d'escargot. That means in the style of escargot, basically in French. So we are making that escargot butter, and we are doing several things. We are cooking, obviously, we're going to do some escargot. We're going to do lobster, we're going to do shrimp, and we're going to do clams, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to put my board down, as usual. And speaking of clams, I need to check my oven because I'm roasting some clams just until they open, which is going to happen in another minute or so. And we're going to get right to making our butter. All right? We have any hellos out there?
Well, yes, of course we do.
Of course we do.
You've got Jay Judge, hello guys.
Nice.
And Sherry, oi oi.
Oi oi. Nice.
Yes, she was using her French.
Yeah, and no vegetable. Anyway, before I get to the butter, let's talk about some of the implements of destruction with escargot. So where do escargot come from? They come from the garden, of course. Unless you live in New Jersey, they come from a can. So this is, and they're relatively inexpensive when you buy them at Restaurant Depot. This is a can of 96 escargot. They come in a briny liquid like water, you know, and so I rinse them off, get rid of some of the salt, and that's what we do. So there are tons of things. So we've amassed a collection of things here. These are vintage from about 1969, and obviously the divots are for the escargot. The best part of the escargot is the butter. So I've got a couple of these. Here I've got some porcelain ones. They're a little bit smaller. So this I would do if I was just doing the escargot meat and not the shells. We are not going to use those today. And these we bought at a vintage flea market. These are actually made in France. They're metal. They're really cool. I'm excited about them. So we're going to see what else we're going to do. The other things we're going to do in these are porcelain enamel steel, also made in France. These are great. They get really hot. They retain the heat. They're heavy. So that's what we're going to do with our prawns, with our lobster. We'll see. We're going to see as we go. And of course there are the pincers and the shells. You can actually buy these shells, Restaurant Depot. You buy the shells, stuff the escargot in there, fill it with butter, put them in the oven. So we're going to do that. And of course, the etiquette way is when you have your escargot in the plate, is to pick it up with the pincers, like so, and then pull the meat out. So that's your etiquette lesson for today. So we're going to have that for later. I'm going to see if these clams are open, because I just wanted to open. They're getting there, a couple of them.
And we've got Mo with us. He's a high
Another quick little blast. And those should be all open. I just wanted just till they're open. So we're going to pull the shells off, and we're going to put the butter on. Who said hello?
Mo.
Hello, Mo. Boy, I wish you were here, and I bet you do too. But that's what you're missing, you know. I hope your dinner is a nice one tonight. All right. Awesome. Let's see what we got in here. Pull these out because I definitely don't want to overcook them. I've got a couple that are done, so I'm going to pull them out. They're just starting to open. And at this point, since I am cooking them again, I will pry them open. Like so, pull these out. As long as I can get in there to open them up, I need them to cool off before we do that. All right, I'm going to put those all back in, let those cool off a little bit. All right, let's get to the butter because we're going to need it real soon. All right, so in my bowl I have 4 sticks of butter that is at room temperature. And we are going to add the other compounds to this butter. So we have, I'm going to do a couple tablespoons of chopped parsley. So 2 tablespoons. I'm going to eyeball it. About 1. That's about 2. You really want this to have a nice green tinge to it. We are going to do, it said 6 medium cloves of garlic, and you know that I never follow what the recipe says as far as garlic comes because I like to add more. But let's see what that's a tablespoon. We're going to put a tablespoon and a half. And if we want to add more, we can add more. This is 2 small shallots, finely chopped. Beautiful. I'm going to put all that in because that's going to add a lot of flavor. I'm going to, while I have my tablespoon out, calls for Pernod. Pernod is an anise flavored liqueur. This is another brand, Ricard. They didn't have the Pernod, so I got the Ricard this time. And this is going to put it goes great with seafood. I love it with lobster and shrimp. We're going to put a nice tablespoon in there. Beautiful. I just love the smell of it. And you know, it's one of those things that'll run in the background. We've got some nice cracked pepper and some salt. Yep, that's pepper. With my Finamil, love my Finamil, because I can swap out and switch right over to salt.
And as you're doing that, we've got Mario Tapia out there going, hey, whoa, baby.
Hey, Chef.
I see Karen Duran. Ethan Raisa says, hey, guys.
Awesome.
And Rui Manado said, what going on, Eric? Looking forward to seeing the finished platter.
Thanks, Rui. Thanks for chiming in. And I see what you cook, man. It's great stuff. All right. We've got open. Pull these out. That's gorgeous. Beautiful. Actually, these 2 can go a little bit longer. Now that one's good. This one, I'll get it open. All right. Now my oven I have set at like 500 degrees. Ooh. That was close.
So we have clam water on the ground?
So we have clam juice on the ground. So my oven is set at like 500 degrees because all the seafood cooks very quickly. I want the butter to melt, to get sizzling, and I want the seafood to cook. All right, back to the butter. So we have our butter, our shallots, our garlic, salt, pepper, and the Pernod. So of course, room temperature. So like I took this out yesterday, and I got the parsley in there too. So you, I will say that you want to do this by hand. You do not want to do it in a food processor because it'll if you overdo it in the food processor, it will change the texture of it. You don't want to do that. You want a nice, just lightly blended. You want the flavors to go throughout, and you don't want to overmix it. So that's it. I'm about there now, and maybe a wider whisk would have been better, so it doesn't get stuck like that. But that's all good. Yes, Lynn.
From Ephraim, is there an advantage of making the clams in the oven versus steaming?
No, I figure that I had the oven on already, so it just took a couple of minutes. Really not a big deal. It's just one less pot you gotta clean, I suppose. All right.
And Karen Duran says, oh my God, I need this. And you're magnificent.
All right, so I'm going to rip off the top shell, throw it in the garbage. Shells are still pretty warm.
Anything special about what you're doing, or is it just
Nope,
a rip?
just breaking, tearing it off at the hinge. So what you want to do is, if you're going to do it this way, and I put it in my escargot dish. I put it hinge side, so standing on its hinge. That way, they would open, more freely, because you never know what side's going to open. You get this one. I'm going to get my clam knife. And you don't necessarily have to worry about the juice in this, although usually, we want to save that liquor, the clam liquor.
Would you use that in this particular recipe?
Nope, you don't really need to. All right, so these are good. I can tell by the way the clam is holding on that they're not overly cooked. They're just cooked enough to open that top shell. And, sometimes you'll have to scrape them. Now I did purge these clams simply by putting them in a bowl, and I put in some ice. And then I just covered the clam, and I put salt, about a 1/4 cup of salt, and I just covered the clams with water, and I let them sit there for about 20 minutes or half hour, and guess what? The water got full of sand, because what they do is they spit the sand out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you meant by purge. So
Yeah, purge the sand. So that's how you get the clams that are not sandy.
I prefer them that way.
Mm-hmm. Who wants to eat a mouthful of sand?
Not
Nobody.
me.
Of course, like Ephraim said, you definitely could steam them open if you're more comfortable doing it that way. Your kitchen, your rules.
Are you leaving the oven on at 500?
Yep. And if I find that it's too hot, so this shell broke, so I'm going to scrape it into the shell that's intact, because you really need room for the butter once it's going to melt. So. Two more. Bless you, Lynn.
Thank you. Sorry about that. From Karen, she said, do you do oysters, wild blue point?
You can do oysters. That's what's so good about this butter. It's so versatile. I mean, you could even make garlic bread with it. Can you imagine garlic bread made with escargot butter?
I see red.
You see red?
Bread.
Bread. Oh, yeah.
Are we doing bread?
We are going to do bread. I'm going to show them a little hack on the bread. All right, so now I'm just loosening. I want to cut through the muscle that's still attached.
Can you do that with a regular knife?
Yep, you can do it with a paring knife, no problem. This way it just makes it easier when you go to eat them. You can just pick them up with a fork and you don't have to deal with the muscle. Beautiful. These look awesome. These look awesome. All right.
And from Rui, they asked where are you getting your seafood?
These clams actually I got at ShopRite. They looked really good. I went to ShopRite because lobster's on sale this week. It was $6.99 a pound. And they had these really good clams. I was going to go to Restaurant Depot, but they had a nice small bag. It was about 20 bucks. And yeah, so I said, the hell with it. We're going for it. So these you could actually put in a escargot dish if you want. You know, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put them in this dish. See if I can get another one in there. Like that. We'll do the metal ones with these.
It's personalized plates.
Yeah. It's going to be like a smorgasbord.
And where'd you end up getting these plates?
These?
Yeah.
We got at we got them at the vintage flea market in Lambertville.
Did you get the white ones at the flea market too?
I think so. Maybe the thrift store. All right,
Okay.
let's get working. All right, so I got a little spreader here. We got our beautiful butter, and these. And I'm just gonna pack. I don't want to pack these too much with butter because you're limited to the spillover once it melts. Like that. I do want to cover the clam though, so. Garlic, clams, parsley.
You think you can get like a teaspoon per?
Yeah, maybe a little more. Depends on the clam. All right. That's good there. And I'm going to do a couple of escargot. Show you the classic dish along with the other things we can do with it.
So a request from Karen is that she said she would love to see you prepare octopus. She's been looking at them at Whole Foods.
Nice. Okay. I'll tell you what, I have had, actually at Costco of all places, they do sell octopus that has already been cooked and that you can take home, marinate in olive oil and oregano and make that Greek stuff and then put it on a real hot grill and just crisp it up. Beautiful.
That's delicious.
All right, so this is ready to go in. We're going to put these right here. Next thing we're going to work on is the namesake. So, I have, oh, I forgot that I have this. We have another seafood that I totally forgot about.
What?
Who bought all the seafood?
Wait a minute.
All right,
Where'd that come from?
so we have,
What is that?
these are the escargot. This is how they come out in a can. Okay, different
goodness.
sizes. These are fully cooked. We got some small ones,
They're ugly
got some
little
big ones.
buggers.
They're not the prettiest looking things in the world, but they are tasty. So, we got a nice big one here, and basically, you are putting it in,
And for those who have just joined, what are you working on?
and we are covering it. We're going to fill it with the butter. So we are working using escargot butter, which we've made, and we are actually not doing just escargot. We're doing a bunch of things.
Kevin asked if those are helix snails.
These are helix snails.
What's a helix snail? Do you
That's
know?
just the variety
Okay.
of snail. So snails, the escargot, are actually land snails. They are garden snails. So we are putting these in. Of course, we need copious amounts of bread. So with the snail, you've got the little tail part. It's like a curved part that goes in.
I'm going to zoom in on that as you do on the next one.
And restaurants will do this. They will take all the shells. They'll take the escargot. They will stuff them all, and they will put them in the refrigerator or even the freezer. Let me see if I can get some bigger ones up to the top. Into the freezer, and that's what I'm going to do with the extras. Here's a nice big one. So here's that curly. This is the part that goes in the shell. So I'm basically going to stick that into the shell and let it curl around with the shell. And then we're just going to cover it with butter. Like so.
And you said you had another seafood in there. What else did you have?
I forgot that they had, also at ShopRite, they had these really nice bay scallops. So I said, you know what, they cook really quickly. So we're going to make some bay scallops as well.
And Colin came back with it's his favorite kitchen.
Nice. Thanks, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
All right. One more on this dish. Trying to get the big ones. So it's really not difficult to make this. And again, this butter you can use, just do it on pasta. Nice garlic butter pasta. All right, I'm going to do one more plate, and then everything's going to move along a little bit quicker because we're not stuffing or filling or any of that nonsense. Okay. So I made a double recipe of the butter because I've got so many shells and so many escargot. I'm going to make them and do what I said, put them in the freezer.
And again with the butter, what went into the butter?
We went with shallots. We went with parsley. We went with a pretty nice amount of garlic. We went with some Pernod, which is an anise flavored. My favorite liqueur to cook with, or cook seafood with. I'm going to put 2 in here. I'm getting crazy now.
I wonder which one of us would be lucky.
I don't know.
So,
Yes.
Kevin asked, do you reuse the shells? I believe it's illegal for restaurants to reuse them, even if cleaned in boiling water.
Yes, I do. I reuse them. It's my house. I'm not worried about it. I don't know that it's illegal to reuse the shells. And I say that because, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Because they're not what I would call cheap. So it's not something a restaurant would buy or spend the money on and throw away. So I don't know the answer. Maybe I'll have to ask my friend Ron Tolada. Maybe he will know because he's a food safety guy. But yeah, I have no problem reusing them. And I would understand where a restaurant couldn't. Uh-oh, going for 3.
Okay, I just Googled it.
Yes. What does it say?
I don't know how reliable the source is, but it's called Foodle. Foodle knowledge. For an authentic dining experience, you can purchase shells to serve the snails in. These snails can be cleaned and reused. Simply place the used shells in a pot of water with some white vinegar.
There you go. All right, that's our next item up for bid here is the snails. Those are done. All right. Now, let's move on to the next seafood. And I call them seafood like snails are not seafood. They're garden food. So, Sherry, it's almost like a vegetable. Because they eat the vegetables. All right, next. I had purchased a 1-pound lobster. I blanched it for about 1.5 minutes in the hot boiling water. Dispatched the lobster. And then I used a pair of scissors and I cut the shell. I pulled the legs off. I pulled the tail meat out like that. And actually, after I boiled it, I blanched it in cold water, ice water. Real easy to get if you have the right kind of scissors, not too thick, you can cut right through the shell. These are soft shell lobsters. So I was able to get, you'll see here, the entire arm and the claw with the bottom shell still on. So I am just simply slathering butter on this.
And I love the fact that we can get a lobster right now for $6.99 a pound.
Oh, it's great.
And I think earlier this summer we got them for $5.99 a pound.
Yep. Yeah, I could have gotten $5.99, but couldn't figure out how to download the digital coupon.
What?
Yeah, I know, isn't that crazy? All right, I did also just throw the legs in here. I put a little bit more butter on there. And that is going to be fantastic.
Kate came back and said, ooh, escargot, one of my favorites.
This is going to be one of my favorites too.
What's
These
this?
gorgeous, beautiful bay scallops.
Mo, you should have been here.
You should have been here, Mo. So I'm simply going to butter the dish just a little bit. Maybe on the bottom, use my hand. Just so, you know,
They don't stick.
they don't stick. Okay. Now look how easy this is. Dump. Okay. Now, of course, a couple more dots of butter.
What are you you starting with this?
Bread and rice. Bread and rice. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt in here.
Colin wants the shirt.
Yeah, we're gonna put another order in. All right, next.
Do they all cook about the same time?
Yeah, they do. So and I'll pull them out as they're ready. So again, shrimp. I'm gonna do it in a oval dish. These are they are easy peels, so they're deveined in the back already and peeled, so they're easy to peel once they're ready. I'm gonna just basically put them in. This is probably the only seafood tonight that will be good for leftovers if there are any.
So this will be the last thing we eat, just in case.
No.
Do you have to put them in a certain way? Like
I'm
you
just
are?
trying to put
Or
them
you
in
making
nice.
You making them look pretty.
Yep, make them look pretty. You could butterfly them and stand them up if you want. Whatever you want to do. So I'm going to have to do 2 of these. Okay, again, butter. So this butter is, since it's room temperature, it is going to melt really quickly in that very hot oven. All right, a little bit more. I might not have as much butter left over as I'd hoped, but I can make more. All right. Should I only make 1 of these, honey?
Yes.
Okay. I know you like a book.
Yes.
All right, so I'll save these for another day or later, tomorrow. And we're getting into the oven. So I'm going to guess that the shrimp, because they're bigger, are going to take the longest to cook. So I'm going to throw those in now.
But how long will everything cook for, do you think?
I don't know. And the lobster, because the lobster is raw. Put those in. And the scallops, they're raw. Our clams are going to cook quickly because they've already gotten partially cooked. And then our escargot. I'm going to pull the rack out if you'd like.
I think I got a good picture in there.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my convection oven on, and this oven's at 5. I'm going to keep turning it up, and we're going to do a little bit of cleanup, and I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. Except, what are you going to do with the bread?
What are you doing with the bread?
All right, let's go.
Actually, you want to talk about your shirt for a second?
What about my shirt?
Colin's the only one to mention the shirt, so...
Yes, this is our shirt. We ordered a bunch for my family for a first run. We're looking to order more if there's enough interest. And yeah, the Grateful Chef with Eric Eisenman, a little picture of me. And of course on the back, be well, eat well, be kind, and our website. So if you're interested, just shoot me a message if you're interested in them, and we'll get together an order and we'll order some more. When you order, the first order is always small, just to make sure they get it right. But I think they got it right. It's a good shirt.
I dig it.
Ling digs it. She designed it. Digs it. All right, let's talk bread. I bought this beautiful sourdough bread because at Fresh Market. Because there's nothing better than having a nice, crispy loaf of bread with this to dip in the butter and everything. I mean, listen to this crust. It's not crispy. I got a trick for that. Come over here, follow me, Lynn.
Ah, that's pretty
So,
funny.
how do you get the store-bought bread crispy again? You can throw it in the oven. Sometimes it'll dry out. Watch this. You ever do this?
I thought he was nuts. I'm like, you're getting the bread
Give
all
it a
right.
quick little soak in the water.
Mm-hmm.
and throw it in the oven.
And you're just throwing it on the bottom rack?
Throwing it on the bottom rack. And wait till you see what happens when that comes out of the oven. It's very cool. All right, so we are serving this with a little bit of rice. I have over here in my rice cooker. Nice fluffy white rice. Look at that. So I'll put that maybe on our dinner plates, and then as we take the seafood, we can put the sauce on. I am
Awesome.
serving all those little dishes on my Lazy Susan. It's going to be very cool.
And we have the lovely rag on there so it doesn't
Yeah, I
burn.
don't want to burn the wooden Lazy Susan. So, anyway. So, we got one request, obviously, for octopus. If you guys have any other requests of what you'd like me to do, please send them along. You know, yeah, I'd like to be able to, you know, kind of have an idea of what we're going to do on Wednesdays. Sometimes I get chef's block. It's kind of like writer's block, and I'm waiting to be inspired throughout the week. And sometimes it doesn't happen until like Monday or Tuesday that I know when I'm making Wednesday. So if you got any ideas, throw them my way. I can toy around with them and say, yes, that's doable. No, it's not doable. Or see how I can incorporate your ideas into the show that you guys love so much. Also, if there's anyone here for the first time, thank you. Thank you for just chiming in and coming and see what the Grateful Chef is all about. Share me with your friends, family. You know, share the website, www.eatingwithcheferic.com, and get them to sign up for the group and like and subscribe my YouTube channel, Grateful Chef with Eric Eisenberg. So lots of places to get me.
YouTube underscore, no, is that it?
Yeah, it's the Grateful. If you go look at the Grateful Chef, you'll see me there, for sure. All right, I'm hungry. How about you?
Rui said, hey, Def try Polovo Lagario. A must.
Polpo?
No. The last comment.
Polvo a la Gruyere. What is it? I know it's something
Polvo.
pulverized.
Lag. Okay, I'm so bad.
It's funny. Let's do a quick check. Oh yeah, we got bubbling butter.
Can we take a peek or no?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
So what's up next?
So
Your bread.
the bread still in there.
Still-
Yeah.
still-
You want me to check the bread?
Thank you, Mark.
Not yet.
All right.
It's getting there though. I heard a little crunch when I touched it. How about what are you guys cooking lately? If you are cooking things, why aren't you posting it on my page? Please post it on the page. Be part of the community. Because I would love to see what other people are cooking. It's awesome. I love that. Yeah. That's it. It's a weird one tonight.
Yes, because you have no fill in the middle.
I have no fill in the middle. What can I tell you? All right, let's see what we can pull out of here. Where's my? Yeah, I'll use this one. All right, you want to come and see?
Yep.
Let's check our bread. Oh, getting there. Stick in the back.
Ooh. I'm stepping in clam juice.
Nice. All right, I think the escargot are going to be done very soon
How can you tell?
because the butter's nice and toasty, and I add a little bit more butter. Why not? So if you see if it's a little bit dry because you want that pool of butter in there, don't be shy. You can see all the butter has melted. Let's see the shrimps. Shrimps. Yes, yeah, turn nice and pink. Lobster is getting there. Clams. Nice. Give this a little stir. You can see all the butter The scallops do not take long. In fact, if the scallops are really fresh, you actually could eat them raw. And really, they have just a sweet, beautiful flavor. All right, they're going back in.
Bye, dear.
If you want to get a little crazy, you could also put the broiler on.
What will that do?
It'll just, the heat comes from the top. I have a very powerful broiler in here. I think it's 13 or 16,000 BTU, so you really get heat and crispiness. It's very good. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to take these escargot out.
Coming back over again.
I actually want them to cook more. Let's get the bread. Oh yeah.
Actually, I don't know if you guys can hear that.
All right, over here. Crunchy. It works. It works great, and the bread comes out nice and moist.
Did you recently learn that trick?
No, I've known it for a while. Let me use my. Ooh,
It's hot.
Yeah, it is. Nice, steamy, fresh, crispy.
Do you need a basket for that?
No, I'm gonna serve it right on here.
Yep. It doesn't get escargot butter?
Nope. Well, it does when we dip it.
Oh. Now Scott quickly asked, what's for dessert?
Good question.
We don't have any dessert.
No. Might have some old ice cream.
Okay,
Oh,
that bread looks so good. Wait, it looks so good.
Mmm. And it's your favorite, sourdough.
Ooh. That is my favorite.
I think that's enough bread.
Yes.
All right. And let that cool just a little bit.
So I guess with the butter, we just use that dipping butter.
Exactly.
Nice.
That goes over there.
Okay.
Time to check.
Woo. Scott's saying he'd say the scallops are for dessert.
Yeah.
That bread might be for dessert because it smells so good.
All right.
Beautiful.
The first item up for bids. That gorgeous, bubbling.
That's so awesome.
Where's my pair of tongs? There they are. Let's see these clams. Almost. The lobster. Yep.
Is it ready?
The lobster is ready. Mmm. It's almost like it's butter poached lobster.
That's awesome.
We'll pull this out a little bit. See our prawns.
They look perfectly cooked.
Look at that. Gorgeous. So the prawns I'm going to put under the broiler. I'm going to put that under the broiler.
Oh, wow, the scallops are like in butter soup.
I put a lot of butter in there. I'm going to turn the broiler on. And we're going to see what happens. All right. Should I taste one of these right now?
Absolutely.
Can't wait. I'm going to get a fork. I need a little mini fork.
Want me to get a a fork?
Got it.
All right.
All right, so we're going to use these pincers, and pinch me a piece of bread. The proper way, these are going to be really hot.
Should I zoom in for this?
Sure. All right, so I've got my escargot.
Yep.
I'm going to dig in. Nice and steaming hot. There should be butter inside, which you can pour over the top. You could also give yourself a little squeeze of lemon. And let's see what we got here. You can't beat it. So awesome. Now, of course, in this little puddle here, there's a pool of escargot butter. You can taste the very small hint of the Pernod. There you go. Delicious. Killer. All right, I see my broiler is cranking. Gorgeous. I'm going to take out, let's put the lobster on here. Look at that. How's that look so far?
Lovely.
Nice.
What else you bring it over? Ooh.
We've got the other escargot.
Yep.
You can see some of that parsley and garlic. I like the broiler effect.
Actually, the butter looks a little more browned on the broiled one.
Okay, we've got our clams. Those look fantastic. Look at this dinner for two, honey.
Uh-huh.
All right. Move those scallops over.
I was gonna say, Scott might be right that those scallops are dessert.
So you got to take a little bit of each, a piece of each. It's the Italian way.
I don't know. Kevin said, name the movie. Waiter, there are snails on her plate. I have no idea. All right, Kevin.
Not a movie guy.
What's the movie, Kevin? Okay, so.
Mr. Bean. The prawn episode.
Okay, seriously, how hot are those plates?
They're very hot. All right. And one more thing that's going to be coming out are those glorious scallops that
Wait.
Lynn will be so happy that I bought.
In the bed of butter. I should say, the soup of butter.
Yeah, they are in the soup.
I think they're done. Woo!
All right.
Seafood platter for
Was
two.
worth the wait. Let me check this butter because I'm not sure. So that's not all butter. Apparently there is some
Liquid?
scallop juice.
Okay. Ah, it's from The Jerk. Steve Martin movie.
Oh,
So,
so there you go, guys. You can stop eating.
I'm gonna say this looks pretty easy.
So, sure, you can do it all like this, or you go to the market and you see great scallops on sale. So buy a bunch of scallops, get have a couple of these, some oven-proof dishes. Do it in one big one if you want, but make this butter. Couldn't be simpler, couldn't be more flavorful, and go at it, have fun. Who wouldn't love a dinner like this for sure? But anything, any of this butter, bread, butter, scallops. I didn't want to do the big scallops, but you could. If you do one dish of the big scallops, you certainly can. and have fun in the kitchen. Have a good time.
Rui, I'm not gonna say, could you dust the seafood with some cheese?
Wah, wah, wah. No, I don't do cheese on my seafood. Although I do sometimes put it on my linguine and white clam sauce. I'll have a little pile of cheese. I like to dip it in there because I like the cheese with the pasta. But yeah, no cheese. You could certainly, I could have thrown some breadcrumbs on top of the clams if I wanted to. On top of the scallops. The shrimp, not so much because they're in the shell. Some of the lobster maybe. Do like a little kind of a crispy crust on the top, but that's it. So anyway, we're gonna go eat this while it's still hot. Wish you guys were here, but since you can't be, you must make this yourself. I'm gonna put a little lemon juice on everything because that always elevates the flavors. And again, send me your ideas. Be well, eat well, be kind. And we'll see you on the next episode of Cooking in the Grateful Chef Kitchen with me, Chef Eric Eisenbud. Peace.